Hey guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to be talking about the Star Wars franchise. If you're a longtime viewer of this channel, you'll know for a fact that I don't care about the current Star Wars movies. More specifically, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Solo: A Star Wars Story. Now, before anyone starts calling me a hack and typing away at their keyboards, telling me to go fuck myself and find some help, understand that this is all my honest opinion, and that I'm not doing this for views or money. This is just me being 100% honest with you guys, and sharing with you guys some of my honest thoughts on some of the things I really like. But anyway, getting back onto the topic at hand here. The reason why I'm talking about this is because for the longest I've been feeling like Lucasfilm doesn't really care about their own property and has gotten lazy. And also because I have zero faith that The Rise of Skywalker will be any better. You see, what made Star Wars real interesting for me was that unlike the current trilogy, both the original and prequel trilogy actually had a lot of characters that I could get behind. Such as Anakin Skywalker, who apparently gets shit on a lot, mainly for his dialogue and the way he was written, which in all honesty is an issue I never had with the character. Come to think of it, I never really had any issues with the character at all. I mean, yeah, I will agree that his younger counterpart in The Phantom Menace was presented as a Gary Stu, which I will admit is kind of a turnoff, but for the most part, I've always believed that Anakin Skywalker could be an interesting character in his own right, and Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith are prime examples of that. Force Awakens was alright for what it was, however, one of the things I found disappointing about the movie was how Rey was just seemingly brought about as this superior godlike being with almost no real explanation behind how or why she can move mountains, and most importantly, why she has been chosen to be like the next Skywalker, which is part of the reason why I don't have faith that The Rise of Skywalker will be any better, but we'll see how the movie plays out. A lot of people hated that Anakin Skywalker was treated as a Gary Stu in the prequel series of movies, but at least we got an explanation of why he was put in that kind of position. Obviously, he was chosen to help make the Jedi stronger and better like his son Luke. Whereas Rey, on the other hand, was just seemingly chosen to become a Jedi to, I don't know, serve as a symbol for female empowerment, which could work if done properly, and don't feel like you're just outright degrading men and making them feel like they don't belong in this world. Something that Kathleen Kennedy clearly lacks in understanding herself, but who am I to say? I'm just a casual Star Wars fan. I honestly feel like Rey might just be another one of those type of characters that are nothing but a title for forced diversity, not just with skin color but sexuality as well, which is something that is not really fun to watch in a movie, let alone a Star Wars movie, if it's for that purpose and that purpose alone. As for Last Jedi, the issue I have with the movie ultimately is the same issue that I think a lot of people have, including Mark Hamill himself. I don't know what the people over at Disney were thinking when they gave this movie over to Rian Johnson, but the script is a mess and should have never received any praise or recognition whatsoever. My issue with this movie is Luke Skywalker and the way he was written. I'll never understand this, but for whatever strange, ridiculously convoluted reason, Luke decides to give up being a hero all because he believes that the Jedi have ruined him. Which would have been more meaningful if he had went about it in a much smarter way, other than trying to murder baby Kylo Ren and dying off in the strangest of ways. What they should have done with Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi was make it feel like Luke Skywalker had noticed all of the flaws in the Jedi and had wanted to turn things around for the better. That's what they really should have done, because Luke Skywalker in the original Star Wars trilogy was always hopeful and full of joy and wanted nothing more than to make things better for the Jedi. You know, he was kind of like the Peter Parker, the Spider-Man of the Star Wars universe. But instead we just ended up with a different version of Luke that literally wants nothing to do with the Jedi and is just a sad old hermit. And then we have Solo: A Star Wars Story. I think you guys can kind of get an idea of where I'm about to go with this one. I never had any real desire to want to go see this movie, not just because it's a movie about a character that I never had any real connections with, but because it's also a movie that I feel was just made to cater to all of the hardcore Star Wars fans. Which isn't bad if executed properly, and with this movie it's all over the place, such as the Darth Maul scene. I have no idea why Darth Maul would want anything to do with Han Solo, or why he would even appear in his part of the overall Star Wars storyline, but it all just feels completely out of place for me. Almost nothing about this movie makes sense whatsoever. This movie had the potential to be like the next great Star Wars spin-off after Rogue One, but you see, what made Rogue One so interesting was that you didn't have to like the characters in order to understand the story. Rogue One is a story that focuses on the harshness and brutality of war, much like Zack Snyder's 300. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, had a visual theme that made sense. What's the theme of Solo, a Star Wars story? Weird and out of place character plots that go nowhere? I often hear a lot of people say that in order to enjoy these new Star Wars movies, you need to be more open-minded and not have any expectations. To which I will admit is a pretty fair point. But to me, a Star Wars story should be more about having a purpose. And Solo, a Star Wars story, doesn't really seem like it has much of a purpose. So yeah, I may not care about the current Star Wars movies, but that doesn't mean that I don't have faith that Lucasfilm could redeem themselves. I mean, Jedi Fallen Order looks pretty good, and from what I heard, the Mandalorian TV series is off to a great start. And before anyone starts freaking out in the comment section asking me where are my videos, just know that I deleted all of them, because I just recently heard about YouTube's plan and how they're going to start forcing all content creators to make and upload more videos that follow community guidelines. And being that I am a very opinionated guy that would rather play by his own rules than anyone else's, I've decided that I'm going to be moving over to Vimeo and uploading most of my content there. Because unlike YouTube, Vimeo is one of the very few sites I know that actually lets me upload whatever I want and doesn't give me a hard time about it. So if you want to support me on there, go ahead. Links in the description below. Anyway, peace out, folks, and I'll see you later.